Good morning to you. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. I don't know what accent that was. It sounds like about 3 different accents combined into one, which is how most of the accents Mr. Daggett uses sound. Now, if you want a good accenteer, I think that's the right word, you should talk to my wife. Maybe I'll have her on someday and have her give you some fancy accents, and you might enjoy that. But, Jeannie, by the way, people have wondered, what is in Mr. Daggett's Genie cup? I will tell you. It is tea, hot tea. Now, I do like coffee, but I've decided that for this season I will be drinking tea as it's good for all ailments. Today, let's go around the world, and then we'll get to another book about Igor or Igor Stravinsky. Let's go around the world. Let's go Northern Hemisphere. Let's see where we end up. It'd be funny if we ended up in Oregon. Or right in the dead center of the Atlantic. That's cool. Where are we close? Ooh, the Azores. The Azores. Santa Maria, Ponte Delgada, San Miguel, Angra do Erosimo. Angra do Heroísmo. Now, these are actually in Portuguese. I don't speak Portuguese, really. I don't speak Spanish very well either, but these are a bunch of islands owned by Portugal, you see right here, the Azores. Now, Portugal, as I've said before, they are the ones that settled Brazil, and they speak Portuguese, which sounds kind of like Spanish, but then it has a bunch of funky little things to it that I think are really cool. You should just type Portuguese in Google and listen to people speak it. It sounds kind of familiar, but then it sounds kind of different. That's really neat. Anyway, so Portugal owns the Azores, and I'd love to go there. Maybe you would too. Let's go there together. Here we are. What do you see? Ooh, islands. Now, these islands are not tropical, although they're in the ocean, so they're probably really pretty. But I encourage you to search up the A-Z-O-R-E-S, the Azores, or Azores, or Azores, however you would pronounce it, which are in the Atlantic Ocean. Anyways, to our book. Now, I'll give you a brief history before we read from the book, but this is one of my favorite composers. Pardon for the eye rub. I did just wash my hands, so it's okay. Don't worry. Stravinsky is a very, very famous composer, and I'm sure we'll hear about it here. But he wrote a piece of music and used an instrument called the bassoon, which normally plays kind of in my speaking voice range. It's not very low, but it's not very high at all. But he used it in this very high sound. Okay, and it's playing really, really high, and people started laughing in the audience. Okay. They laughed so hard that actually, as the symphony was kept playing, the audience drowned out the sound of this symphony, and then people got mad, and it was this riot. It was crazy. And this was in the 20th century, so it's pretty amazing. But he was famous for being sort of infamous. He did things that broke some rules, but he also influenced a lot of great musicians and music after him. So I will not read the whole thing today, but I'm going to give you a little taste of this book. I will call him Igor, by the way. Igor Stravinsky was born in the Russian seaside town of Lomonosov in 1882. The exciting new rhythmic sounds he invented changed the way people thought about music forever. That's not him when he was a baby, just so you know. Perhaps Igor Stravinsky's best-known musical pieces are the ones he wrote early on, when he was just starting out as a serious composer. Igor composed The Firebird, Petrushka, and The Rite of Spring between 1910 and 1913 for a new Russian ballet company. If you see them. The Firebird is about a Russian fairy tale. Petrushka is a folk tale, and The Rite of Spring is about an ancient and frightening Russian ceremony. Igor had a great gift. He was able to write music that went along perfectly with dancing and helped tell a story with sound. Igor Stravinsky loved fairy tales and folk music. One of his first memories of music was when he was only about 3 years old. He was at a fair in the Russian countryside where the Stravinsky family often spent their summers. There, Igor saw a gigantic bearded folk musician sitting on a tree stump. He was singing, clicking his tongue, and making loud armpit noises. Raise your hand if you can make armpit fart sounds. Igor couldn't wait to get home and try making these noises himself. Do you see that? When summer was over, the Stravinskys moved back to their apartment in the busy city of St. Petersburg, Russia. Years later, when Igor was composing music, he often remembered the sounds of St. Petersburg. Sounds that seemed ordinary to most people had a special meaning to him. Igor never forgot the clear echo of horses' hoofs and the clanking of iron-rimmed wagon wheels on the cobblestone streets. He loved the bright clanging of church bells and the mechanical sounds coming from machine shops. All these things gave him lots of ideas for music later on. There's a picture of St. Petersburg. So I think we'll stop there for today, and we'll begin tomorrow reading a little bit more about how he grew up. So I want to encourage you. Today's Wednesday, which means we have a couple more days of the week. And I know that school can be really tough, but don't lose heart. Okay, I can tell you that I've been stressed today even, and things can be kind of hard. Take some deep breaths. And relax. Talk to your family, go outside, play, run around, do some push-ups, some sit-ups, play a video game for 15-20 minutes, and then go run 10 miles. Whatever you want to do, I don't care, as long as it's appropriate and okay by your family. Anyways, I hope you have a good day. We'll get through all this together. I hope you're enjoying your time at home, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. So from my house to yours, cheers from the genie. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow.